Hello, future developers. I'm Kalaiselvi, a corporate technical trainer and a freelance developer. In this video, we will cover all the OOPS concepts in Java that are most commonly asked in the coding interviews. We will go step by step, concept by concept, see the real Java examples, and even we are going to implement a small project demo to understand everything clearly. By the end of this video, you will confident in answering any oops questions in your interviews or the placement drives for 2026. Let's start with the oops first. Uh, what is this oops? Oops is basically stands for object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. There are two types of programming styles. What is this object oriented programming? Before that, we need to know about two types of programming styles. One is one there are two ways of programming. The programming can be considered in two ways. One is procedural and another one is object oriented. That is what oops. A procedural is something basically runs over the procedures and the functions. We'll discuss in the future video about this. Let's come into this object oriented part. This is one of the programming style. It basically it is a programming style. You have to know what is hoops in the sense it is one of the programming style. It is a programming style that focuses over the objects and classes. Okay. Yeah. If we come into the picture of the hoops, the code has been organized and positioned basis of the classes and objects. Okay. Based on the classes. Then what is the object? That object is represents the real world entity. Object represents real world entity. It basically helps in the modern modular programming style. Let's go in detail. Okay. See, basically, a OOPS is a object-oriented programming, obviously, but a OOPS is one of the programming style that focuses on the objects and classes. Okay, and what is this objects then? The objects are the real-world entities, and this OOPS concept helps in the modular programming. Uh, let's explain this with the analogy. Think a blueprint of the house or any construction. There is one blueprint of the house. There may be a plan like a corridor, gardening, main hall, bedroom, kitchen. Yes, just think analogy. Okay, there is a blueprint. Before building any house or any construction, we will make one blueprint, right? Based on this blueprint, the real house is built. uh, yeah, I'm just bad at a drawing, literally. Based on the blueprint, a real world entity, that is real house, has been built. This is what basically happens in the construction. Now consider this in the real term. This blueprint is known as classes, and this house is meant for the objects. Do you consider on this part? You just understand. OOPS is a programming language, sorry, a programming style that focuses on objects and classes. What is objects and what is class? A class is a blueprint, and the object is a real entity. Let's go in detail. As I said, a class is a blueprint. A class is a blueprint while object is an real instance. That is the real world entity, real instance of that blueprint. See, based on this blueprint, a house has been built. Am I right? And using the same blueprint, we can build another house. If you see here, based on the blueprint we have made, the house has been built here. On using of this blueprint, we can this is make it as house one. Based on this, we can build the house two for my brother. See, this is for me. I have built this house for me, and I want the same house for my brother. At the time, I don't need to create this blueprint again. Based on this blueprint, by using reusing this blueprint, I can build the another house 2 for my brother. This is what the class oops object oriented programming mean for, which is mainly considered for reusable. And this productivity is meant for scalable production, and this also be maintainable. That is what hoops stands for. Reusing the same blueprint and build the multiple houses. That is what classes and objects came into the picture. By using the same blueprint, multiple by using the same class, multiple objects can be created. We can create multiple objects on one class. By using one class, multiple objects can be created. And at last, for the classes and objects, make this interview trip. Just make a note of it. For an interview, always you have to remember a class is like a blueprint. It is meant for these are the technical keywords. A class is a blueprint. What is object then? Object is the instance of the class, instance of the blueprint. Instance. Just make a note of it. This is what a class and object mean for. Next, we are going to see the real example in the IDE. Before that, just take a note. A class is a blueprint. Object is the instance of that blueprint. Let's go to the real demo now. Just open my IDE. And for the classes and objects, it's a basic simple program so that you will get an idea over what is class and or what is object, how it has been created. You already know about some of the Java core Java knowledge. See here I have created the class called student, and inside that class I have the attributes name and age. It is just a simple program to demonstrate what is class and what is object. This is how the class will be created. Inside this, we can have the attributes, that is variables, and the methods present inside these classes. And to demonstrate this, I have created the main class. Inside this main class, I need to load this class first. First, we have to load the class. To load the class, we have to create the reference of it. Student S1 is meant for the reference. Before new, it is just like a reference. The reference has been created for the student. First step. After reference, we have to create the object. Just take a note. For creating the object, the keyword is new. New is used for creating the object keyword. After that new, we have to give the class name for which we are creating. We are creating the object for the student class. So new student and open and parenthesis, which is meant for the constructor. This is how the object has been created. And what is the type of this object? The object is created for the student. Then the type of the object is student. That is what S1. On the combination of this object will be created. See, this is not a object important for the interview perspective. Student S1 is a reference variable. To create the object, we need a keyword called new. After that new, we need to place the class for which we are creating the object. We have to create the object of the student. So new student. This is how the thing will be happen. And after creating, I'm just assigning these names and age by with the reference of the object. After the new has been added, the reference become the object. Now the S1 is object. I've created one object and I've just do some operation, assigning operation. And see, for S1 the property owner is me, kalaiselvia. Okay, and for S2, I'm just using the same blueprint and created the another object, the same house. This is a blueprint. This is like house one. House one holder is kalaiselvi. Now I've created another same house, but now the owner is Punit. Do you get my point? With the same blueprint, we can create multiple houses. That is what, with the same class, we can create multiple objects. This is what classes and objects meant for. And I hope you understand what is classes and object. And before moving to the next part, I just want you to take a note of hoops. The main four pillars of the hoops. Four pillars or concepts, hoops concepts, anything it may be. The first one is classes and objects. The second one is encapsulation. Just take a notes of it. We will see in detail now. Encapsulation and inheritance and polymorphism. The next is abstraction. Encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. These are the main pillars of the hoops. Like main concepts, main pillars. This is important question. Without these concepts, no Java interview will happen. For all the Java interview, this plays the major role. Okay. On that, we have done with classes and objects. Next, we are going to see about the encapsulation. What is encapsulation? Encapsulation is meant for data wrapping. Encapsule. See, encapsulation. Encapsulation. If you cut this word capsule, this is what encapsulation is meant for. Wrapping, covering, or protecting something. Wrapping the data, covering the data, protecting the data. You can meant for anything like that. Encapsule, capsule is meant for wrapping. Capsule means wrapping the tablets, wrapping the medicine. Do you know the capsule is what meant for? Inside this capsule, there is a medicine over there, medicine over this. This is what encapsulation is a practice of keeping the data safe inside the class and restricting the direct access. Keeping the data safe inside the class and restricting direct access from outside. Restricting direct access. Then how it has been achieved? Okay, We have to keep the data safe. At the same time, we have to restrict the direct access of the data, which is data. To do so, to restrict the data, whenever the word restrict means, you have to know about the access modifier private. By using the private variable, we can restrict the data access from the outside. Private variables. Then how can I use those variables? I'm just restricting the data, which is variable is meant for. Variable is nothing but data. Just restricting the data. Then how can I access the data? The direct access has been restricted. How it has been accessed? For that, we need a public. To access from anywhere else, we need a public. But the data should not be public. Yes, the data should not be public. So we have to create the public methods. That is what getter and setter. Getter and setter methods. Okay. This is how the encapsulation is achieved. The most important interview question is how you can achieve the encapsulation. You can explain the interviewer like encapsulation is basically meant for restricting the data, restricting the direct access from outside over the data. To achieve that, we can use the private variables, and by using the getters and setters, public getters and setters method, we can achieve it. This is how you should give the answer. Like same, the analogy is, if for this, if the real world example, this is important. You have to explain the real world example, that is analogy, that is capsule. Encapsulation is like a capsule medicine, a data medicine inside. A data is the medicine which is present inside the capsule, and it is accessed only in the right way. That right way is getters and setters. Do you all, I hope do you all get my point. And to know about this, I just want to, after discussing what is encapsulation, how it is done, at last you have to know about the interview tip for encapsulation. Just take a note. For interviews, always you have to explain why we need this. Why we need to, if there is a question. See, there is a questions like, just take a note, how you can achieve. How you can achieve the encapsulation. There is question like that. And why we need it. Why encapsulation is required. And real world example. Real world analogy. You have to have this for all five hoops concept. First, the classes and objects that has been done, and here for encapsulation, how we are achieving it by using the private variables and public getter setter methods. This is the answer for this one. And why we need the encapsulation. Encapsulation is required for why. The answer is required for data hiding, security, and easy maintenance. Data hiding, security, hiding or wrapping the data, security, and easy maintenance. For this, the encapsulation is required. Okay. Next, the real world analogy is capsule medicine. A data present inside the medicine present inside the capsule is data which is protected, covered with a shield. That shield is private variables, and inside that class it is protected using the shield private variable. Yes, now we are going to see the demo of it, how we can achieve that. Demo of the project. Okay. Yes, just take a screenshot over this. Now I just show the demo of the project. Now see, I just created the, one second. Before that, we have seen the classes and objects, right? Yeah. See both the programs. See here the student, this is a class. Inside this class, I have created the variable with no access modifier, that is product, that is without access modifier. I have created the variables so I can access it directly. Here I'm just accessing the data directly. S dot name, S1 dot age. I'm just accessing these variables, data variables directly inside the another class. This is another class, another main class. But that is what need to be protected over there. We have to protect our datas, that is name and age. To do so, I'm just in the class student, I'm just changing the variables into private. Okay, I'm just changing this variable into private. And for private variable, how we can access? To do so, we need the getter setter methods. That is what? Get name and set name. Setter is used to assign the value. Getter is used to retrieve the value, print the value. Setter is used to assign the value, assign the data, and getter is used to retrieve the data. Same as age, name, both has been done. And in the main, I'm not able to access. See, I have created the object, I have created the reference and object over here. S is the object. Here now I'm not able to access the variable directly. If I'm giving like this s dot name, it is showing an error. There is the field is not visible. That is what needed. We have to protect the data from the outer world. Here we are protecting. So how we can assign the variable or access the variable then? To do so, we have the setters. By using the set, I'm just assigning the value. By using the get, I'm just printing the output. I just run the program. Name kalaiselvia, age 22. I'm just, the output has been printed over here. To retrieve the data, I'm using the get. To assign the data, I'm using the set. Just take a note, setter is used to assign the value, assign the data. Getter is used to retrieve the data. Getter setter methods. Hope you just get an idea over what is encapsulation. Encapsulation is basically wrapping the data or keeping the data safe and restricting the data from the outside world. Next important hoops concept. Here the encapsulation is done. Next we are going to see this inheritance. What is this inheritance? Inheritance is basically meant for inheriting, like inheriting something. Okay, we are working with in hoops, basically we are working with classes and objects. Am I right? So we have to inherit something between these classes and objects only. Inheritance is basically allows the class's main feature over here. Inherits allows the class to inherit the properties. What it is going to inherit? Properties and behaviors, that is methods. Properties and methods from the another class. See, a new class is going to inherit properties and behavior of the another class, that is already defined class. This is what inheritance basically. Inheritance means a class inherits the properties and behaviors from the another class. Uh, it is mainly for reusability of the code. And inheritance is mainly done on the hierarchical classification. It is done over the hierarchical classification. This basically promotes the code reusability and hierarchical classification. Let's think an analogy. Okay, let's think a real world problem. uh, like you are a child. Basically you are a child of your parents or a grandchild of your grandparents. You are a child, like child. You need to, at the school times, in the school times you are a child, you need to access one thing, like you need to search for anything, like you need to search for any project work. So what you can do, you don't have your own computer, own system, or own mobile. Okay, then at the time what you can go, you can go to your father. You don't have something, you don't have the mobile to search, mobile, not, you don't have the mobile to search. So you go to your father, and what you can do, you can access his mobile. You can ask him to provide him a mobile. Daddy, I want to search something, so just give me your mobile. So you can get the mobile from your dad. Your mobile is, the mobile is having, your daddy is having the mobile. You can access your father mobile. And in with your friends, what you can see, I just accessed with the mobile. Yes, you are accessed this content with the mobile, but whose mobile is this? That is your father mobile. This is what inheritance concept mean for. You are a, you are a class. Okay, you are just accessing the mobile from your parent class. Okay, you cannot access the mobile from some unknown person, or unknown person going on the street, or anyone uh, who you don't know. You just you can access it only from your parent. If your father also not having the mobile, then you can go to your father also not having the mobile, then you can go to your grandfather. Who is your grandfather? The father of your father. Okay, your father also not having the mobile, then you can go to your grandfather. He is having the mobile, then you can access it from him. So this is how the inheritance works. You cannot, if your father is not having, you cannot go to any unknown person and ask for the mobile. You can go to your relation, like a relatable parents. That is what this connection meant for. uh, and a new class can inherit the properties and behavior from the another class, but this class is a parent class. Okay, to do so we will use the keywords like extends. This extends is meant for a father, like how you are connected with your family. This is how these two things is connected by this keyword extends. Okay, it is mainly to avoid the code it is mainly to avoid the code duplications. As I said, reusability of the code. Let's come into the real scenario. You are building one calculator app. The calculator is the best example for the inheritance. You are building one calculator app, and that app is capable of do adding and subtraction. Okay, and you want to enhance, like you need to develop the another app that has to do, the client is asking for add, subtraction, division, and multiplication. You need four features. So already there is a app, there is a class who is capable to do add and subtraction. Now you just need division and multiplication as well. Instead of building from scratch, you can inherit this, like from the calculator app you can create another app. You can do the operations of division and multiplication alone in the new app. Add and divide is inherited from the parent class, that is parent class, old class, or super class. You are a child class inheriting. add and subtraction. To do so, we have to use the keyword called extends, child class. Okay, this is how the inheritance works. Okay, let's see the real example demo now. Okay, let's see the demo now. As the end of this, you must know what is inheritance, how we can achieve that. We can achieve using classes. Okay, parent class and child class. Why it is needed? Code reusability. The answer for what, how it is achieved, why it is needed, and interview tip. You have to know these things. Okay. First, what is inheritance? You know, a class is inheriting the properties and behavior of the another class. How? By using the classes it can be achieved. Why? Why inheritance is needed? For code reusability and hierarchical classification it is needed. Okay. The interview tip, just take a note of it. Inheritance is used to avoid the code duplication. This is what the exact answers needed in the interview. Code duplication. Okay, and it creates the hierarchical relationship. That is what parent child, grandparent, uh, parent, and child is accessing from parent, parent is accessing from grandparent, creates the hierarchical relationship. Yes, just take a quick note and take a screenshot over here. Next we will see the demo. What, how, why, interview tip. At last you must know these things for all the OOPS concept. Okay, at last I will just give the summary over there. Yeah, let's go to the demo now. For inheritance, we need more classes, right? So basically, we are going to create one class, person. A person is a common class. You are a person. I am a person. Your child is a person. Your father is a person. Everyone in the citizen is a person. And for that person, we will have name. Okay? Yes. And I am having one method show name which is going to print the value of the name. Okay? Then if we go into the college, the category has been divided into student and teacher. So if you go into the college, you are a student, but you are the same person with same name, but as a student you will have your unique roll number. Am I right? You will have your unique roll number, but the name remains same. So we cannot repeat the code here like string name. We don't do like that. Okay, this is what duplication, code duplication. Here there is a string name which is for person, that is the person is you, and here I am using the string name uh, to assign the name of the person. This is a code duplication. Instead of this, what we can do means we can inherit the name property from this parent class, that is class person. How we can inherit? To do so, we have to use the keyword extends. Extends and extends what class? Parent class, parent name, parent class name. As I said, you can bought a mobile from your parent. Who is your parent? With a name you can identify. He is my parent. Um, he's working like this. Like that, you will mention his name. So parent class name extends the parent. A student extends the person and int roll number, and the name is called from this person. So show roll number, that is what printing the roll number, method to print the roll number. Next, the main class. Here see, I am just creating the object of the student. First I have created the reference and new created the object of the student. Now in this student I am just having only the roll number. So if I am calling s dot name, it will first go to the student class and check for the attribute name. There is no attribute. Then it will go to its parent class, extends with a person. Then the person is a parent class of it, like super class. So it will go to the person and check for the name. There is a name. So it will call this name. S dot name is equal to kalaiselvi, that is inherited attribute from the person. The object is from student class, but the value is inherited from the person. Okay, and this is a own class member, like s dot roll number is equal to 101. And show name, is this a method present over here? No, it is present in the superclass inherited method. And show roll number, this is how inheritance work. This is how you explain in the interview. This is not for the complex problems. Just giving the idea over to you how you can explain. If the interviewer asks, write an example program about inheritance, explain inheritance, you have to you have to give the answers for these things. What are the things? What is inheritance, how it is implemented, why it is needed, and why it is needed with this keywords. Okay, these things must be in your answer. Inheritance, a inheritance is a is meant for a class, a child class inherits the properties and behavior from the parent class. It is implemented by using the classes, and it is required for the code, uh, required to avoid the code duplication, and hierarchical, improves the hierarchical relationship. This is how the interview answers should be given from you. If the interviewer asks the question, they expect this: what, how, and why. Okay, if you give this, you are 100% efficient in the oops concept. Next, I hope you understand inheritance on the stages of the pillars over the hoops. We have done with the classes, encapsulation, and inheritance. Now we are going to the polymorphism. One of my favorite things, a polymorphism. What is polymorphism? The name itself. Everything is there in the name. Polymorphism. Divide this into two parts. Poly and morphism. Poly means polygon, polynomial, polygon, many sides. Poly meant for many. Morphism it meant for forms. Poly means many, morphism means forms. So polymorphism means many forms. What is many forms? One thing in many form. A single function or a object can behave differently depending on the context. That is what polymorphism. Okay. One thing behaves in the many forms, different forms based on the situation. That is what a polymorphism is. It is basically divided into two types. What are the types? Just take a notes. Important interviews. I have just explaining everything based on the interview perspective. There are two types. What are the two types? Compile time. At last, I will give the answer for what, how, why. Okay. This must be known for all the concepts. Okay, just come back. Two types: compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. There is another name of over here. I will say about that later. Okay, compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. What is this compile time? Compile time is also known as method overloading. Runtime means method overriding. I will say what is a difference about this now. Okay, there are polymorphism is means many forms. There are two types of polymorphism. One is compile time and runtime. Okay, before that, before seeing what is method overloading, overload riding, let's see about the real world analogy. Yeah, that's what I have done. forgot. Real world example. This as well. Okay. Your example for the polymorphism. I am example for the polymorphism. We are different behaviorally based on the occasion, based on the situation. Now, if you are in your house, you will be in your comfortable dress, and you will wear one shorts and t-shirt with your comfortable dress. If you are in your house, if you are in the college, you will be there with a professional clothes. What is that? Professional is meant for a professional shirt and pant, or a uh, or a or a costume like chudi, like that, a professional costume. Okay. And if you are there for a function, if you go there with a like a t-shirt and shorts, no, like there you will follow some model design over your costumes. Okay. You are a same person. See, this is what a polymorphism. You are a same person. You will be wearing with it you will be in your house, you are with your comfortable dress. That may be anything, shorts or a pant or a t-shirt, a thinnish t-shirt, anything that may be in your house. You are very comfortable wear. And if you are in any college or work or a company, if you are going for a work company, you have to be there with a professional costume. And if you go for an any occasions like any festivals, you will wear some design model over your costume. And if you go for the vacation holidays, trips or trekking, you will suits according to that. You will go with a suit, shoe with a proper shoe, like that. Same person, based on the different occasion, the clothes things used by is differs. Different behavior in house, you will behave, behavior will be different. In your work, your behavior should be different. In the college, your behavior with your teacher friend should be different. In a festival with your cousins, you will be in the happy mode, your behavior should be different. In the trip, as a friends, you will behave with a different approach and different behavior. Same person, based on the occasions, based on the different occasion, different clothes, different things, different behaviors. That is what polymorphism is. And one important interview trip for you, I just want to give it the at this time is itself, not wait for the at last. If the question asked from the polymorphism, what is polymorphism, or anything related to the polymorphism, if the question is asked, every time just give the answer with the real world analogy. That is what real world example. You have to give the answer with a real world analogy for the better clarity, because this is important for this polymorphism. Others you can give anything like that. Many you can give if inheritance is asking, it can inherit from one class to another class. Encapsulation, protecting the data, you can give like that. But if the question rises from the polymorphism, every time you just give the answer with a real world problem, real world example. Not only this, like animals bugs, animals foods, everything. Based on the animal, the behavior will be different. A dog will barks, cat will meow. Like that, the behavior will be different over the animal. Like that, any real world example is needed. Okay, next. As I said, as I promised, I'm going to give you the interview question. We just seen this. This is a major concept. Compile time and runtime is another major concept. But for the interview perspective, how you can explain, I will share that. Okay, what is polymorphism? That is many forms. How it is implemented, that is what these two types. If there is a question how it is implemented, the polymorphism can be implemented in two ways. One is compile time and a runtime. In compile time, we will do the overriding. By method overriding, it will be implemented. In runtime, it will be implemented using method overriding. This is how your answer should be. If you are giving the answer like this, then there is no question like You are just impressing the interviewer at the first question itself. If they are asking in the hoops, if obviously the question will be arises from the hoops only. So if you are giving the hoops concept like this, uh, you are just impressing the interviewer within the first few questions. Okay. What is what can you explain, can you have idea about polymorphism? You can say yes sir, yes ma'am. A polymorphism is meant for many forms. It can be implemented by two ways. One is compile time and another one is in runtime. Method overloading is done over the compile time and method overriding is done over the runtime. If you give the answer like this is very good impression. And if they ask why polymorphism is needed, if they ask like that, see, you can go with a real example based on the like a same person is going to behaving in the different behavior. Same person is wearing a different clothes in the different occasion. A same person behaves in the different ways. That is what a polymorphism is meant for. You can give the answer like this. Okay. Now let's see what is method overloading and overriding. Overloading is done with a single class and overriding is done with multiple class, more than one class. Okay, let's discuss this bit deeper. Okay, overloading and overriding, which is a single class, multiple class. What is compile time and runtime? While if you are using the Java program, after writing the Java program, what first you will done? Compile the code. Okay, compile the code, and what you can do means run the code. If we know what is the output at the compilation at the time of compilation, like after the project creation as well, that is known as compile time polymorphism. If we know that only in the runtime, that is known as runtime polymorphism. Let's give in detailed explain. Okay, compile time. What is compile time means? You just creating a method add. Okay, add uh, int a comma int b, and also you have the method int a, int b, int c. You're having two methods in the same class. Okay, in the main program public static void main, you are just giving calling this add method and 10 comma 20. Now the main program is there, the program is ready to print, just no syntaxes, just imagine a main program has been developed, a program is ready to run now. Okay, you know the method add 10 comma 20, the parameters here is 2. So you know this, it will obviously call this one, it cannot going to call this add method. Okay, before running itself you can know what is going to be executed and which operation, the operation inside this method will be executed for this. That is what compile time polymorphism. And what is runtime? Runtime with the same method name, different parameters. That is what compile time. Different behavior, same method name, different parameters. It may be a nature of the parameter, it may be a count of the parameter, it may be the order of the parameter. Okay, that is what compile time. Then runtime. What is runtime? Runtime means add method and the parameter is zero parameter. This is present in one class, class 1, and there is another class 2. You are having add method. Okay, you have two classes. In class 1, you are having the add method. In class 2, you are having the same add method. I'm just creating the main program. In the main program, public static void main, I'm just calling the add method. Do you know what which implementation this call? Is this called the C1 or is this called the C2? On seeing this, no, right? On seeing this, you can say it will call two parameters, so it will call the first add method. This is again add method. It will call the first add method. You can say like that. But in the runtime, same name, same parameter. Same name, same parameter. Here I am just calling that method. What will be called? After the running, it will print C1, C2 method. Inside this method, implementation is printing. It will print C1 method. Okay, it is printing like that. After running, my output is C2 method. Now, based on the output after running, based on the output, you just know it is calling the method present in the class 2. So the thing is done after the running, so that it is called as runtime polymorphism. This is what method overloading. Method overloading means same method name, difference in parameters, different in parameter nature. That nature is uh, count of the overriding. Just take a note. Overriding, same method name, but parameters differs, arguments differs, difference in parameters. Okay, that difference is done with three things. One is count, another one is nature, int, double, string, float, nature. Another one is order, count, nature, data type, that is, and order. What is runtime? So this method overloading is also known as compile time polymorphism, since we are identified in the compile time. And if we are doing this both things, we will just come to know compile time. It is also known as overriding, and it is also identified in the earlier stage, first compilation. First we will compile the code and we will run the code. So before compile, that is at the time of compilation, we know this. So it is also known as, that is the first type is also known as yearly bind polymorphism. Okay, this is the second type, which is runtime, is method overriding. Overriding is not done in a single class. There is a class 1, class 2, same method, same behavior, same method name, same parameter, but based on the class. In this class, the behavior is addition of two numbers. Okay, in this class, the behavior is addition of three members. So based on the class, the behavior changes. That is what runtime polymorphism. Runtime, also known as this is overloading. Overloading. This is overriding, and we can identify this at a runtime only. So it is known as a late binding polymorphism. Okay, just take a note. I hope you have taken the interview tip. Next, we are going to see the very interesting one, and one of my favorite question while I am conducting the mock interviews as well. I used to ask the question on that. Before that, let's see the demo. Okay. After seeing polymorphism, I just introduce the concept. Yes. For polymorphism, I just created one simple program. Okay. See, here I have created the program with class. See, I just created one class called animal. See, I just created one class. Inside that class, I am just having one method. The method name is sound. Okay, they get my point, right? Method name is sound, and the animal makes sound. And now I'm just creating another class, dog. that is a subclass of animal. How it is subclass? By using the keyword extends animal. The superclass, a parent class is animal, a subclass is dog. Here also I am having the same method. Void sound. Dog will bark. So now I'm just going to implement the runtime polymorphism. This is what runtime polymorphism. Here, why it is runtime polymorphism? I'm just calling the sound. We cannot know the output before the implementation. After running only we will get to know is this a dot sound. After running, a will created the object. The object has been created for dog. This is what I said. See, whatever you are giving here is a reference variable. Okay, animal a, which is a reference variable. It is a is a reference variable of the animal, but the object is not created for the class animal. The object has been created for the dog. Okay, a is a reference variable of the animal, and I am just going to create the object new, and I'm just creating the object of the dog class. So after new, whatever the class you are representing, the object will be created for that class alone. The first variable is meant for the reference. How then the dog will be matched with animal? Since the dog is a subclass of the animal, we can match the dog over animal, but the reverse is not possible. Animal a is equal to new dog, which is runtime polymorphism. And here I am just calling the sound. After the running only, we can able to know what is a stands for. A is you just imagine only this line, a dot sound, and the reference of this is animal. We don't know what class it is going to call. So after running, the for a the object has been created, object is created for the dog, then it will call the sound, so it will call the method present in the dog. Okay, so it is going to print as output bark. This is what runtime polymorphism is. Let me show you the compile time polymorphism as well. Int a, int b with the two parameters, add method with two parameters, adding a two variable, and add method with the three parameters, adding a three variable. Now, here I am just calling add 10, 20. You can directly say, you cannot wait until it need to run, it is belongs to which object. We don't need to discuss over that. See, add 10, 2. The argument passed is two variables. Here the add method, two add method. One is with two variable, one is with three variable. You can directly say it is going to call this method, so that it is known as compile time polymorphism. I hope you have get an idea over what is runtime and what is compile time polymorphism. Next, we are going to see one of the important concept and the most interviewers liking area over the question and answers, that is abstraction. We are going to see abstraction, the most important thing and my one of my favorite thing in interview, mock interviews and mock questions. Okay, abstraction. What is abstraction? Abstraction is basically meant for hiding, abstract something. What we are going to hide? Hiding the implementation. Okay, we can hide the implementation. Like in the class, we will have a variables and methods. Am I right? We will have variables and functions. Variables and methods. Okay. We will for method we will have the implementation of that method. We are going to hide that implementation. That is what abstraction is. Hiding the implementation, showing the just showcasing, exposing the method's name only. Method, we will expose the method, but we will hide the implementation. exposing the only the functionality. We will know what are the variable present over that class. We will know what are the methods present over that class, but we will hide the implementation of that method. We will only expose the functionality, that is variables and methods will be shown, but the implementation will be hidden. That is what this is like. For this a real world analogy. See, this is the most crucial question, but very simple if you know understand the concept. See, you're driving the bike or you're driving a car. Okay, let's take a car. You're driving a car, but as a car driver or you are know how to drive the car, you don't know need a knowledge about engine details, how machine work. You don't need to get a degree on a mechanical engineering on how the mechanical machines work. You don't know, you don't want those details. Engine details is not needed. So as a driver, as you want to know about the driving, you just know about steering and pedaling. Steers and pedals. If you know the knowledge of steers and pedals, that's enough. You don't need internal working. How if I'm click on the steering, how the engine works. If I'm click on the pedal, if I'm click on the pedals, how it's internally works. This is not needed for you. Not needed for you in the sense you cannot need those access over you cannot need those access over over to drive the car. For driving the car, you just need to know about steering and pedaling. Okay, how to drive the car. You cannot need to know if I am click on the steering, what it does internally in the engine. If I am click on the pedals, what it does internally over the engine or a car machine. This is not needed. Okay, what it does for you, if there is a thing like that, if you want to drive the car, you have to know about the steering, you have to know about the you have to study the engine completely, then only you can open the car. Like that means what will happen, there is more complexity. Okay, you have to know more things, more and more things in the single place. Okay, as a driver you want to know about steering and pedaling, no need about engine details. That is what abstraction is. We are going to hide the implementation, that is hiding the work. Implementation is hidden. Okay, you just know about the function, that function is steering and pedaling. You just know to know how to steer and how to pedal. You don't need the implementation of this. Okay, this is mainly for the to reduce the complexity. Why? The answer is reduce complexity and improves the code security. Okay, I hope you get my point. And now we came into the picture. What is OOPS? OOPS is a programming style. I just give a overview summary over that so that you can answer correctly in an interview and crack the interview on the concept of OOPS. Okay, what is OOPS? OOPS is object oriented programming. It is one of the programming style that focuses on the classes and objects. Classes and objects. The object means a real world instance. A class is a blueprint. Object is a real world instance. What is the pillars of the hoops then? The pillars are, as earlier said, you have to explain about classes and objects, and you have to know about encapsulation. The pillars are class and objects, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Okay, a class is an object, a class is a blueprint. You have to give the example of house blueprint. Object is a real instance. You have to give the example of the house. Based on one blueprint we can build the multiple house. That is what classes and object. Based on one class we can build the multiple object. A class is like a blueprint, a object is a real entity, a real implementation of that. And what is encapsulation? Capsule, wrapping the data, wrapping the data or keeping the data safe, restricting the data. And how it is implemented? By using the private variables and public data setas. Okay. And why it is needed? It is needed for the data security and data hiding and for the easy maintenance. Okay. Next, what is inheritance? Class inherits properties and behavior of the another class, that is parent class. It is mainly why it is needed. It is needed for, as I said, security. Why it is needed? It is needed for the reusability, code reusability, main thing. Okay. Next, polymorphism. Poly means many forms. A real world example is you as a person. You are the example for polymorphism. And why it is, how it is implemented, in the sense you have to give the example like a person will behavior in different scenarios like that. And what is abstraction? Data hiding. Data hiding. Just need to need to get the overview of all these things. And now I would like to I just suggest you one thing. Okay. You have to create one project based on oops. If you are a beginner, this will much improve your knowledge. Based on hoops, you just create. You have seen, right? Based on this, create one project that should implement all these things. Classes and objects. That project should have encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. This is a task given to you. You just try to complete this task. Okay, it will more useful in the interview. Okay, you can create a college management system or a student management system or a employee management system, a customer service or a system. You can do anything, but that project should implement all these concepts. This is a project task for you. Okay, let's, you just understand these things and I just give you a quick interview tips on oops concept. Okay, always for interviews, if the questions are asked over from here, you need to give the answers like this. Always explain the concept. If they are asking for inheritance, if they are asking for polymorphism, you have to explain the concept. Just take a tips of this. Okay, explain the concept with examples, real world examples. Okay, you have to explain the concept with real world examples. And you should know the differences of differences of classes versus object and abstraction. This is most important versus encapsulation. Most of the questions arises over here. Encapsulation is data wrapping, abstraction is data hiding. You have to explain both the concept. And in polymorphism terminology, there will be a question on overloading versus overriding. You can expect the questions like this. Okay, you have to prepare on this. And what next? You have to, as I earlier said, you have to understand a real world analogy for all the above concept, like a real world example. You can reuse the example which I have given, or you can use any other real world analogies. Okay, then most important thing, as I earlier said in my last video as well, if you don't seen that, you just go, I just prefer you to see that, because you have to show confidence and rate the concepts in the real world projects. As I said, you have to develop this one project. Okay, if you are a fresher preparing for the Java, this will definitely help you. This project is going to help you. And for a Java interview preparation, I have already posted a video on Java roadmap previously. If you don't watch that, I just give that link in the end of this video. I prefer you to watch that to to get a proper idea before your Java interview. Okay. Okay, at last, in this video, we have covered the classes, objects, what is encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction, and the demo projects over there. And also, I have given one task for you, that is one project, a practical demo for all these things. And if you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe for the more interview focused videos. Okay, and if you have any doubts over the concept, you just comment over that. I would love to explain this. Okay, keep learning and keep coding.